All right. Well, happy Tuesday morning to you all. Continuing my return trek to Texas. Neil and I are leaving the Best Western in Cordele, Georgia, I think is what this is. Cordele, something like that. Stayed here last night because we did not want to sleep out in this soupy thick humidity here in Georgia. Oh my God. It's hot. Even the locals, everybody going in and out of that lobby of the hotel up here, they're like, oh my God, it's hot. It's humid. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't know what to expect because I'm not from here, but I'll tell you, it's soupy. And I can barely bend this knee to get it up and over the bike. It's good stuff. I'm not going to show you pictures of my underwear, but I'll tell you, my right knee is double the size of my left. It looks like someone cut up a very small cantaloupe and shoved it under my kneecap. Oh yeah, feels good. Ouch, not. All right, so Neil is up here replenishing his coffee stash, I think, turning in our room key, and he bought the room. I bought dinner last night. We had dinner over at Steak Place, something 16 down the road. It's pretty good. I'm good to go. So we've got a lot of miles to cover today. We're going to try to get 450. Thanks, man. 450, maybe 500 miles. 500 would get us to the I gotta get gas too. It would get us to the Natchez Trace. I don't know if Neil has already filled up on fuel. I need to let him know that I do not have range like he does. He ran off last night and was pretty much leaving me for dead, and I ran out of gas on this. I had to stop and feed it before I ended up in a bad spot on the highway, but he realized I wasn't with him. How are you on fuel? I've got a full main tank, but this is empty. Okay. Well, the sheriff's in a hurry. It's the 35, man. Oh, all these people are in a hurry. A bunch of aggressive assholes. Look at this. You go, hurry up and wait, you fuckers. Speeding 55, 60 plus in a 35 right up to the ass of a sheriff. How smart can you be? This is where we ate dinner last night. It's pretty good. 16 East, that's why I can remember it. An American Bar and Grill, 16 East. Ooh, that was something. It almost looked like a baby coyote. I don't know what that was. It is no more. Well, look at that aggressive asshole. He is chasing down the ass of that sheriff. I mean, come on. What is it with these rednecks? Shit, I'm a redneck, but I'm not an asshole redneck. That guy's just a complete asshole. He's gonna pass the sheriff. He is. He just shagged around him and he's nailing the gas, blowing by. We're still in a 35 zone. He's going 60 plus, just hard on the gas. Could give two fucks. And the sheriff ain't doing shit about it. All right, well, we know how law enforcement works in this area. Of course, I'm an out-of-towner, so as soon as I do something wrong, I get to pay the city tab. Oh, mister, we're going to get you for reckless driving. We're going to get you for speeding. We're going to get you for driving a stupid-ass little scooter on our public roads. See what I can come up with here. I mean, I'm going to scratch my nuts and give a ting in the spittoon, and I'll find something else. Oh yeah, you got busted plastics on this here little Japanese piece of shit. You can't be riding them busted plastics on my street. You're missing a reflector in the back, I see. All right, that's not a violation. That looks like a dead county car right there. Ooh, it's a retired county or sheriff vehicle. missing all of its badging and a significant amount of paint. I don't like these small town cops, I'll tell you. I've had run-ins with plenty of them. Most of them are decent, but yeah, you just never know what you're going to get out here in Podunk, USA. Where you going, man? Where you going? Where you going, Neil? Turning right? Where you going? Did you done forgots your signals? I think you done forgots. Because that is crust. She know in business. She crust. Oh, no footer for both of us. Yeah, the last trip that I did with Neil and the guys in November, that fall trip that we did, it was real cold. I was on the CB500X, and I was going through shit somewhere, Podunk Town, Georgia, and I was in a 35 zone. And it was right as it was transitioning, like right here to 45. I mean, literally right here. I rolled on the throttle just a little bit to get up to 45. So I was between 35 and 45. I was going, I don't know, 40, 41 or something when I hit the sign. And there was a little small town sheriff. He was a nice guy, but, you know, they're always nice when they're stealing your money, right? Radared me and swung around and pulled me over. Said, you know you're in a 35 zone, right? And I said, no, actually I was in a 45 right here. I just passed the sign. He said, yeah, but you were going 42 or whatever when you hit the sign. I'm like, really? Come on. Don't you have something better to do, you fucker? Wrote me a $385 ticket. God damn, man. Like, they don't do that shit all day long. Come on. I know better. I was one of you hypocrites once upon a time. It's all about extracting money from the public. It's not about a safety stop or ensuring public safety or trust or serving the greater good. It's about justifying your job and meeting a fucking quota. That's why I got out of that game. Couldn't believe it. That was back when they still had quotas on the books, you know, and they spoke about it like it's a ticket quota. And everyone outside the game realized how horribly hypocritical and self-serving that is. It's not about serving the public, it's about extracting tolls. It's the angry ogre on the bridge forcing money out of you at gunpoint, literally. So, yeah. I cannot deal with that kind of hypocrisy. I mean, if someone is speeding and cutting lanes and, you know, ass munching, bumper biting, being a complete douchebag, yeah, absolutely. Ride them, throw them, you know, get them for speeding, get them for reckless driving, all that, because that's a safety issue. And you're taking an aggressive shithead down a notch or two and make them think about it, so they're not a threat to everyone else on the road. But, you know, when traffic, everybody is going, you know, 5 over, 10 over the limit, whatever, and you have to stay with the flow, especially on motorcycles. You always need to stay with the flow if possible, if not just a little bit faster to maintain visibility. And then you get singled out when everybody else has been doing it all day long, including the asshole that's writing you the ticket. He does it all day long. You guarantee he's doing it all day long. And no one's going to write him a ticket for it, of course. The only time you're allowed to do that as a peace officer is if you are running code in response to an incident, or you're chasing down somebody that's doing it. But even then, it takes takes good common sense to realize that speeding after somebody in a dangerous area, like a residential area or a school zone or something like that, because they were going 5 or 10 miles an hour over the limit, but now you're running 50 or 60 miles an hour over the limit to go catch them. Who's the bigger threat? The guy that was going a little bit over the limit, smoothly, safely, with the flow of traffic or whatever, or the asshole that's chasing, putting everyone's lives in danger, including his own, to go issue a monetary ticket and not a safety ticket. It's a statutory stop, not a safety stop. So, yeah. I never did understand the logic behind all that. It's very self-serving, and all it is extracting tolls, man. Extracting money from the public just to justify a position. Not cool. Not cool. Had to get out of it. The one thing I can't deal with in life is hypocrisy, and man, if I ever catch that trait in myself, I stomp it out, stamp it out, smack myself around. Do as I say, not as I do. Bullshit has to go. I think the real problem with law enforcement, and for any of you law enforcement guys out there that are watching, you know, I have the utmost respect for the good guys, but you know as well as I do that there are plenty of bad apples and attitude cases in this game. And they're really out there to enforce their will, not the law. They're not out there to serve the public, and that's really the big deal. Is, you know, as a commissioned officer, your sworn oath is to protect the Constitution of the country, the state, the city in which you live, and enforce the laws in the city in which you live, according to, you know, jurisprudence and common sense. And you've got a lot of leeway there in what you choose to enforce based on the conditions. You know, you can let somebody off with a warning. You kind of read the situation, read the attitude, and all that. But what it boils down to is most law enforcement these days doesn't pay well enough. You know, most positions, departments, you know, entities, agencies, whatever you want to call them, they don't pay well enough to attract good people. It's unfortunate that what they attract are the adrenaline junkies and the personality deficit types that have got to go out there and bully people around. And it's just a damn shame because, you know, your oath is supposed to be as a public servant. You are a public servant. You are there working for the state and the county in which you are paid to protect. And unfortunately, it's become one of those, you know, big people or little people thing. If you're a cop, you're big people. You're one of the club. And if you're not, then you're little people and you get stomped on. And it's the us or them mentality. And that's not how it's supposed to be. And there are very few agencies out there with good enough directors, chiefs, whatever your department might be, you know, your head honcho in charge, to really enforce that in the ranks. Is, look, you are here as a public servant. You're not out there to hassle people and just extract money, you know, because it's really just a money game is all it is. Yeah, law enforcement has done a lot in the last few decades to really destroy public trust and make people wary of them. And it's a shame because it gives a bad rap to all of it, because, you know, it's hard to not label it all with a big brushstroke saying, you know, cops are bad, law enforcement's bad. There are tons of great ones out there, and I've worked with a few great ones, and you know, met tons and tons of great ones along the years. But all it takes is just a small percentage, just a few bad apples to spoil the whole barrel. And when those guys get away with what they're doing, and especially if it's coming from the upper ranks and trickling down, it's systemic at that point. And you've got to be able to shed the light on that stuff and punish it. You know, that's the real issue, is there's no punishment for these crimes anymore. Every now and then a high profile one will get media attention, and everyone's like, oh yeah, see bad cops, blah blah blah. But the unfortunate reality of that is those guys are reprimanded, they're put on, you know, paid leave, paid administrative leave, whatever, and they might even be able to go get a job somewhere else, which is usually what happens. They'll get fired from the department or the agency that they're with, and then they can go to a small town, you know, a couple hours down the road and get a job right there. There's no national registry or, I mean, yeah, there are some, you know, they're the unions and whatnot, but the unions become part of the problem in protecting these jackoffs. But yeah, you get the point. They can go somewhere else and get a job and do the same shit all over again, and it happens again and again and again. So yeah, anyway. The haves and the have-nots, the guys with power and the guys without. And whether it's in civilian life, law enforcement, military, whatever, the guys with the guns will routinely victimize the guys without the guns. That's just how it works. If somebody's got a force amplifier or a force or tactical advantage over someone else, they'll use it against other people. That's just how it is. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's human nature, and it takes a pretty strong personality type and good moral grounding to not abuse that privilege. It's kind of like common sense. You know, common sense is not that common. The moral groundings that we've enjoyed in this country for the last many hundreds of years is also crumbling. Anyway, enough of my soapbox rant. I'm just bored talking on the road. Swampland. Is this actually a lake? Yeah, it looks like a lake. Oh yeah, that's big. That's a lake. So many river something. So many of these. Oh, we were speeding. It's not a cop. Good look. Yeah, it is a cop. It's 45. I'm on 53. A lot of these areas, you're going through the trees and you see water standing off to the sides, and it looks like it might be a river or a lake or something like that. And that's just a swamp, like a drainage swamp. You can't even tell what it is. You sure don't want to stop next to it though, because man, mosquitoes. Be anemic before you can get back on your bike. Home of the 2032 FFA something. Work zone 55. Why is it slow just over the bridge? It's silly. Makes no sense at all. It slows to 45 over a bridge. Gives you a longer look at the water, I guess. It's another trick about little towns, small towns. They, even when there's no homes, it's not a residential area, they put up speed limit signs, speed traps, and it's just a revenue generator. Ah, assholes. Just a revenue generator is all it is. It has nothing to do with public safety. If there are homes and intersections, yeah, I can understand it. But look at these little small town police departments, that is their only source of revenue to justify the job, is speed zones on a highway that passes through town. That's it. So they generate all the revenue and pay the salaries of those cops. So they're, in and of itself, it's an evil intent, evil goal. It's self-serving. Self-serving at the cost of others, with no tangible benefit other than a couple guys getting a job and fucking up everybody else's insurance ratings. And the thing about getting tickets out of town is, you know, especially if you're out of town, they know that you're going to have to pay it one way or another, because very few people are going to go back multiple states away to go fight a ticket in court, because it's going to cost you more than that in fuel and time off of work and everything else to drive back 3 states away to meet this stupid little court date and argue your case in front of a judge. So it's just guaranteed money for them, and they'll write them for as high as they can write them, you know, because they're just extracting that toll. Neil's been busting ass yesterday and today, running 10, 15 over, and we'll get into these slower zones, and I guess he's not paying attention to the signs or just doesn't care if he gets a ticket. He'll be going 55, 60 through these 35 zones. Nah. Just slow down. I don't need to add to my trip costs. I'll catch up to him on the other end somewhere. We're going the same general direction. Just last night I had some small town sheriff come flying up on the ass into me, 70 plus miles an hour, and just park right behind the bike. I'm like, what does this fucker want? I know he's going to pull me over, write me a ticket, something. He's being a douche. I was going maybe 5 over. You know, he came flying up behind me and just sat there right on my ass for, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles, and going through a little 35 zone, and I'm just, you know, trying to maintain right around 35, but, you know, it's uphill, downhill, all that. And then I got stopped by a red light, and continued on through that, and Neil was gone. He was like 2 or 3 miles up the road. He never slowed down. And then he realized I wasn't behind him, and he stopped it. He started coming the other way, and I was like, yeah, I got stuck. Gotta watch these little towns. They're after your money. I like watching those supercar videos occasionally. I forget the name, Daily Driven Exotics, DDE or whatever it is. They just drive those cars around, you know, fancy cities, you know, Miami, and they take them all over the country, I think. And they've got video all over and around the cars. And they're not doing anything, at least in the video shots that they show us. I'm sure they get out there and haul ass with them, play and have fun with those super fast cars, Ferraris, McLarens, and everything that they've got. But they'll show the clips where they're just driving through town, minding their own business, and the cops are pulling them over, hassling them, and issuing them bullshit citations that they know that they can fight, but it's just the point that they can fuck with them and extract money from them, either in court fees or time. And it's that jealousy thing, you know, you got an expensive car, therefore I want some of what you've got. Give me, I'm the law, I'm entitled to it, I'm gonna take it, that kind of shit. Fuck those people. So, you know, they'll show just driving down the road, you know, at the speed limit, and they got GPS, they got everything on the cars, cameras everywhere, and cops pull them over and say, yeah, you're just doing 55 and 35. And they've got, like, uninterrupted video of that whole stretch, and they just prove it wrong. Qualified immunity needs to be abolished, in my opinion. And I know anybody that's in active law enforcement out there is probably against that, but it's causing more problems than it was ever intended to solve. It was originally designed for judges and other city officials to have immunity against either judgments in cases or executive decisions that could potentially turn out bad later as facts change, you know, unknown facts of a case or a situation or something like that. So that's what qualified immunity was supposed to be about. But then it was broadly applied to all law enforcement and all government employees, which is complete bullshit, because that means they can do whatever they want, fuck up as bad as they want, harass whoever they want, and in most cases literally get away with murder. And they get away under qualified immunity because of, you know, essentially fog of war conditions or whatever. They get off because, you know, the circumstances were not quite right. In the extreme cases, I can see it being applied, but it shouldn't be unilaterally applied across the board where they can get away with whatever they want to do. In any case where an officer abuses their power, especially if it's official oppression or something like that, qualified immunity should immediately be stripped. Even if the charges aren't proven, it should be able to be, the qualified immunity should be lifted and the charges should be applied, and then it should go to court. But the problem is, generally the qualified immunity is applied first, so it negates any charges and prevents any grand jury, anything from happening. And that's absolute bullshit, because it lets bad people get away with bad things. And it just is wrong. So I think qualified immunity needs to be removed, and the departments should have to cover or carry at least 50% of the burden of the insurance for officers, just like medical malpractice. And that would probably go a long way toward curing or curbing the excesses and abuse of power that go on now in law enforcement all over the country, everywhere. It would definitely have a very quick trickle-down effect in a lot of corrupt departments, because they would literally go bankrupt defending the cases where the officers are doing heinous shit that they should not be doing. And immediately the officers would, you know, they would feel the pinch in their pockets, because, you know, they have to pay. It's coming out of your salary. It's you know, you might be getting paid administrative leave, but now you've got this $20,000 or $50,000 deductible that you have to cover to defend yourself in this case. It would level the playing field, because the public is always in fear now of law enforcement abusing them and extracting money from them without fear of retribution or remuneration. But now, if the qualified immunity could be lifted, it would make it much more equitable for everyone involved. Oh, maybe I shouldn't go harass that guy, because it might hit me in the pocketbook. That's right. And that's really what it always comes down to, is it's inconvenience or money. you know, as far as punishment on the little people's side. You know, it's 95% of the time it's money. The bigger stuff, you know, if you really do a crime, or if you're accused unduly of a crime and committed it, you know, convicted of it, then you go to jail, you know, and that's your time. Your life is wasting away, and your livelihood is ruined from there out, pretty much, because now you're tarnished, you're stained. But in any case, it's still time. I'm back on my soapbox again, I guess. Got a lot rattling around in my head today. Maximum fine, $1,000. Jesus Christ. Yeah, there's Neil, half mile up, 3/4 mile up, and I'm stuck again. I'm supposed to be doing a U-turn. I don't know where Neil's going, damn it. It's taking me further away from home. I started at 950 miles from home, and we did a couple hundred miles yesterday, and I'm still 850 out, so my route is definitely not the most direct today, yesterday and today. And I was pretty sure that I had the turn highways off option in my routing on there. So I'm taking a up-down circuitous route to get more southwest. It's a big one. Holy crap. 55. Temperature's okay this morning as long as you're moving. It's mid 80s right now, 86, 87, something like that, and humidity is pretty high, but moving it doesn't feel too bad. Sitting still, ugh. And as the afternoon draws on, it's going to be a hot one. There's Neil, almost a mile away. I can't catch a Neil. This thing's only doing 61, 62, best case. And my vibration in the belt, in the drive line, is still there. It's not going away. It doesn't feel like it's getting any worse, but it definitely wasn't there the first day with fresh CVT torque drive and a fresh belt. It was smooth all the way up to bumping off the rev limiter. And I was trying not to bump the rev limiter, you know, just kind of get it right up there. But I was hitting the rev limiter at 63, 64, somewhere in that ballpark. Over the span of the 2 days of beating the hell out of it, I think it was toward the end of the second day, with the fresh equipment, I think it was day, 7, it is developing a vibration. I can really feel it in the chassis, especially in the left floorboard, right around 56, 57. It's very rough feeling. So I think it's the belt flapping in there a little bit or whatever. And what I'm noticing now is that my rev limiter is kicking in at about 61 miles an hour, 61, 62, somewhere in that ballpark. So I can't go more than about 59, 60, and then, you know, I start decelerating or accelerating going down a hill or whatever, and I have to back out of the throttle before it starts surging and bouncing off the rev limiter. Because our theory for this trip is that bouncing off the rev limiter is probably not doing the belt any favors, because if you think about it mechanically, the way that the front CVT portion works, the variator, the back side of the variator is free to spin independently of the drive face, which is the outer face, you know, more toward the outside of the bike. The drive face is connected directly to the crankshaft. It's the variator under the weights that squeezes in and out against that fixed outer face. So it's free to spin on that bushing. And if you're bouncing off of the rev limiter, what you're doing is the belt is more tightly coupled to that outer friction face that's not changing relative, you know, engine motion, belt are roughly the same, because it's the one driving and spinning that belt.
when you hit the rev limiter, the engine is going, so that's putting forward and reverse torque and friction on the belt relative to the CVT face, the movable face on the inside. And that's what's creating excess friction and possibly eating the belts, or at least shortening their lives. Doug, on his ADV 150, lost his belt at just 7,500 miles, and he had been running it on the rev limiter since he left Joplin. So, that's 5,000 miles, 4,500 miles plus worth of just hard abuse. And I kind of noticed that that's when this one was failing, and it kind of makes sense also with the Dr.Pulley variator failing as much, or as catastrophically as it did, wallowing out that center bush in there. If it's constantly under load and friction and it's not rotating smoothly with the rest of the assembly, if it's getting random forward-back torque and generating heat in that bushing relative to the hardened steel drive boss that it's sitting on, then that would create heat, more friction, more bearing material loss, all that. My bike did not really bounce off the rev limiter much. I did once I got it up to like 78. I could feel it surging, but I think most of the problem with mine was that torque drive in the rear not operating properly, and it was creating too much belt drag at pretty much all RPMs, and it was making the variator portion, the Dr.Pulley portion of it, spin slower and generate more heat and just eat that bearing. So yeah, that kind of proved out also in John's PCX 160. He had a Dr.Pulley variator in there that gave up. It was doing the same thing. The bush in the center was getting slack, and the variator was wobbling and eating his belts. I wonder why there aren't any variators that have real bearings in there. A needle bearing cage would be great. That would allow very smooth operation. I'm not sure how the thrust loading side to side would work with needle bearings, but I'm sure there's a way to solve that. Yeah, some sealed bearings of some kind, or good needle bearings in there would probably go a long way toward reducing friction for that movable face. That'd be an interesting mechanical engineering design. I wonder how needle bearings sliding along that boss laterally, how that would cause them to wear or affect their load carrying capability. Neil finally slowed down, realized I was not running 65 with him. Thank you, farmers. Absolutely, thank you, farmers. I thank you even more if you didn't use Monsanto stuff. I don't know if you guys noticed it in the rearview mirror, but the car that came flying up on me pretty fast, they get real close and they look at you, and I think they back off when they see this flashing yellow strobe that I've got. They get close, they look, and then they scoot way back. I don't know if they're just curious as to what it is, or if they realize, oh yeah, that guy's going slow. I guess maybe I could not be a dick, give him some room. Truck route, 40 tons. I don't think I'm gonna be anywhere near that limit. My fuel economy is down quite a bit. I don't know if you guys can see that in the camera. 89.5 is what I'm averaging on this load of fuel. So the previous full tank and then the stuff that I got out of the auxiliary jerry can here. Normally at these speeds, 60 miles an hour, I'd be getting well better than 102 to 110, somewhere in that ballpark, even with mild hills and wind and stuff like that. Easily triple digits. So with the factory variator back in here and not having the benefit of that higher ramp profile, it's dropped 15%, maybe more. And correspondingly, my range is lower. I'm running out of fuel around 170 miles-ish, 165, 170. It started sputtering on me yesterday evening at like 165 on the trip. Figured I better pull off real quick because, hey, he blew a stop sign. They've got these stop crosses here every now and then. And if a county sheriff sees you below it, they're going to give you a ticket. Ugh, no gate arms. Yeah, so fuel range autonomy is lower than it used to be. But, it's all right. When I get home and I do a full tear down on this, I'll probably clean everything up. I don't know if I'll put another fresh belt in it or not. I might, because I'm already in there. Belts are only $30 or whatever. I'll probably put the Dr. Pulley sliders back in, the factory variator, because that was about the best compromise I could find. It still maintained the factory reliability, and I never had a problem with the Dr. Pulley sliders flipping or rolling in there in the factory variator. I had problems with it flipping in the Dr. Pulley variator, but we thought, maybe mistakenly, that it was due to the slider dimensions, the height, because what I had were 20 by 15s instead of 21 by 15s. But now that I think about it, after all these failures, I've got two working hypotheses here. First, the torque drive in the back was probably the culprit all along for a lot of the ails that this bike has suffered since it was new. Talked about that already. You know, the shuddering. It always shuddered the belt real bad. It always had a hard time getting off the line. And that was even with the factory components. The second supposition here is that the 21s might be too tall, even for the Dr. Pulley variator, and they were compressing the belt so much, squeezing it up so much, that it was getting into a belt length issue, and it was forcing the rear drive, the torque drive, apart too far and getting the belt too tightly down in there, and that may have created the problem with the oil seal or grease seals or whatever, to where it started puking up all of its grease into the CVT housing. So, hey, he caught something. Nice job, dude. So that's my two working theories, and I really think that second one is, with the belt height or length issue and stretching that rear pulley so small, so tight, spreading it out. That's probably what accelerated the demise of that rear torque drive. But again, it's been a problem child since the beginning. So anyway, I've got all factory stuff in here now, and I'm going to stick with factory, except for perhaps the sliders, and that'll give me just a little bit better fuel economy, a little bit lower engine RPM per wheel speed, and fuel economy should jump back up at least 7 to 8%, I think is kind of what I saw originally. So yeah, there we go. Long dissertation on aftermarket CVT variator parts, at least in the PCX's case. Skunk. Pew kitty. Dead pew kitty. Well, where's we going, Neil? Don't you take us on gravel. I will not follow you. I will find another way home before I take gravel again. I'm done with gravel for this cannonball. Thank you very much. I never wanted to do gravel on it in the first place because I kind of thought that might be the outcome, and then I got cocky at the end there. Yeah, well, this thing's done it so far. I'll be all right. Nope. All it takes is one downhill with a loose surface, and CBS is not your friend. Not your friend at all. I'm going to keep the Scoot. I'm going to remediate it, fix all the stuff. But when I pull this front end apart, I am deleting that CBS. That pisses me off. Never liked it. I prefer to have independent brakes. If you got CBS, you need ABS as well, because you've got to be able to control that front wheel lockup. And I mean, maybe I'm just thick. Maybe I'm dense. I don't get it. Why in the world would you want CBS to act the way that it does? In my mind, I want it the reverse. I don't get it. If I'm grabbing front brake, I would want rear brake as well, not vice versa. If I'm grabbing rear brake, I want rear brake only, and there's a reason for that. You can drag the rear tire and, you know, control a fishtail or slide. You cannot control a front wheel lockup. When it locks, you're fucked. You're going down. You got no steering, man. If you can't get that front wheel spinning quickly enough before you lose trajectory, you're fucked. That's exactly what happened. It's just coming downhill. I get in the rear brake, and there you got, 20 or 30% of the braking force on the front wheel, which I did not want. And as soon as I hit some big chunky gravel on a slick surface, whoop, game over. Motocross and trail riding, dirt riding, and all that, you learn that real quick. Of course, with knobbies, you got more traction, but you learn that, anytime you're going down a hill, you always use your rear brake. You never want to use your front brake, or if you do, you're just in it very lightly, modulating it lightly to help shed speed. But you don't rely on that front brake going downhill, because if it washes, you're going down. It's inevitable. Ask me how I know. Like I said, I've crashed many more hundreds of times than I could possibly count on dirt. Those don't count as an accident to me. If you're on dirt, shit's going to happen. That's just the game. So it's not an accident in my book. It's an off. It's a down. So been down in the dirt more times than I can count. You learn how to take a hit eventually. Going right. Okay, here we go. On the street, you got a little bit more traction, and occasionally, if you have tuned your senses and your riding skills well enough, you can get out of a front wheel lockup. It'll start to lock, and you'll feel the front end skitter, and you just back out of the pressure, and you can modulate it right there at lockup. And if you practice it a lot, you can hold it right at lockup, and you can just chitter the thing all the way down right at the edge of traction and do almost as good as ABS. But where you can never do as well as a computer or ABS is in a panic stop situation or a front wheel lock situation on soft surfaces. The computer can react so much faster than you can. I don't care how good you are or how staunch a proponent or opponent of ABS you are never going to outperform a computer on ABS on loose surfaces or rain or something like that. It's always going to outperform you, because you've got too many other input factors nailing you at the same moment in a panic. You tunnel vision out, and the adrenaline flush hits, and it's fight or flight, and you're trying to manage the critical aspects of balance, trajectory, and the threat management of whatever it is that you're trying to avoid. And those take 99.99% of your concentration. The braking, it becomes instinct, and you're just in the brakes to try to shed speed. And managing a lockup with all those other factors going on is very, very difficult. And in some cases, it's impossible. You just can't avoid it. Brakes on this thing are not that great. They never have been. I've always been a little bit annoyed with them, and that's why I was going to put a different brake rotor and some stickier pads on here. But in the case of my gravel mishap, that would have actually been worse, because stronger front brakes with combined braking, the CBS, means that front brake is getting even more stopping power when you don't want it. So chicken, egg, unsolvable situation. Well, you can solve it, you just don't do it. Don't take gravel on a PCX with combined braking. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Avoid the situation entirely if you can. Neil's got us on the stop sign route today. It's okay. I don't mind going slower, but start, stop is going to take a lot longer. Let's hope that we get another rural highway with fewer intersections. I see where he's taking us on the GPS, but I didn't look at my starting mileage today. I should have. Figure out how much we're adding to the track. I hope my camera is working well. I haven't even checked my audio. I might be talking to myself this whole time and you guys are just hearing wind noise or nothing. I don't know. After I took a hit, it might have torn my microphone cable. Who knows? Should have checked that last night. Forgot. Derp. But I have to keep narrating and telling my thoughts because there's no way to reproduce this stuff after the fact. There's no clue what I was thinking or talking about. Not a clue. And I watch other people's vlogs that they do post-narration, and that's all fine and good, but to me, that's not really, that's not the riding experience, because what's going through your head while you're riding is totally different. I mean, for me, it's stream of consciousness stuff that I really couldn't reproduce anyway, but whenever my microphone isn't working, or audio is cut out for some stupid reason, like the, adapter is unplugged or something, I look back on, what I was talking about and motioning about and pointing at and all this stuff. I'm like, man, what the hell was going on at that point? There's no way that I could reproduce what was happening. Not a freaking way at all. So I guess that's the difference in content creation style, is some people go out with an agenda. They've got a storyboard in their head, things they want to talk about, and maybe they're just putting it to the background of being on a bike, but it's not really riding, in my opinion. They're riding, but the stuff that they're talking about wasn't necessarily it. Now, if they're just narrating sections of a story, telling you about where they are and what they're doing, I get it. I can't wrap my brain around that type of vlog or video production because it just doesn't match, I think I'm gonna start hatching some of my merchandise plans. I've always had the wish or the itch to make custom merch for the machines that I use, specialty items, touring stuff, video and vlogging stuff, all that. Things that I use in my trips and activities on motorcycles that I think would be beneficial to other people. And I always get comments and, how do you do that? I want to do that. Where do I get this? Where do I get that? I think I'm going to open up a merch store, either through Amazon or whatever, and start selling some of the accessories that I use, just so it's a one-stop shop for everybody. And then I can, get some kind of compensation for my research and, input time, trial by fire, battle testing. But, particular specialty items that are specific to the bike or specific to the use case. Where I'm going with all this is the microphone adapter for this guy. The microphone that I've been using is a Cardo microphone for these Bluetooth headsets. It was from an older one, G9X, and it still had the larger diameter 1/8 TRS plug on it. So the problem with the newer Cardo mics is the interim ones used a little, tiny, the smaller, not 1/8, it was even tinier than that, the 3/32 or whatever it is, I don't know. And it didn't fit the GoPro audio adapter. The next revision, which is this newer one, the past couple of revisions with the Pack Talk Bold and the Edge and all that, they use a little proprietary water-resistant micro D-shaped 2-pin quick disconnect. I have no idea what that plug is, and the wire gauge coming off the microphone is so ridiculously small you can't even imagine trying to solder that yourself. But I'm going to figure out a way to get a little adapter that goes from the Cardo microphone straight over to a female 1/8 TRS, and then we just get a little jumper and plug it straight into the GoPro audio adapter. Or even better, it could just be that the male side of the little micro D quick disconnect straight to a 1/8 male TRS plug, and just plug it straight into the audio adapter. Probably put some strain relief and heat shrinking or some kind of stiffening on that to where it can withstand the abuse of being bumped and banged around on the front of the helmet all the time. But that would be awesome, because it would allow everybody to use these Cardo microphones, and they've got great voice quality, very, very good tonal quality. They've got a lot of low fill, not necessarily bass, but they have good low range vocal fill. So they are easy to adjust levels in post in editing software. If you want to do noise reduction and other audio enhancements and stuff like that, they give you a lot of information, good clean information to work with. And if you don't do audio normalization, I'll turn it off here. This is without audio tweaking and tuning to get rid of wind noise and other stuff, expander, compressor options and things like that that help pick out just the voice and null the background. So this is without audio enhancements. And then here I turned audio enhancement back on, and it gets rid of the noise and brings up just the voice. It subdues a lot of the background and stuff like that. And in Adobe Premiere, which is the software I'm using, there are easy, quick options for applying those tuning settings. And then you can go in and you can kind of tweak it to your liking, how much enhancement, how much compression, how much overall noise reduction, things like that it's doing, so you don't lose all of the background, because that's part of riding. It's always going to be an engine and wind environment, but you can save that as a custom preset. And then I've got different presets for different bikes because of the windscreen and the way everything works, and I'm going around the world to my right. That button is so sticky. I apply a custom profile for each bike and each type of riding. I've got a high speed and a low speed setting. So if I'm trundling around town, or if I've got the visor open, there's one noise reduction profile. And if I'm out on the highway blasting ass and there's just tons of wind noise, then there's a much stricter noise compression profile where it gets rid of all the wind noise. So anyway, that's how I do it. Then the other merch ideas are custom brackets and stuff like this. Neil's fabrication is just amazing, and he's toying with the idea of making these things publicly available. We just have to have a bike or a use case where he can build it, test it, see if it works, and then he'll make a jig, an assembly and welding jig based off of this, and he can reproduce it. This one, he said he's got a jig for part of the assembly, like the hood and all that stuff. He's got a metal brake and bending brake and all that to do this and reproduce the little mounting shroud for the Zumo XT. But the rear part, the legs that go down and mount on the bike, that's going to be bike specific. So that's one option. And then other stuff, custom wiring harness adaptations that I've used for hooking up basically T-harnesses for trailer connections and rear lighting and stuff like that. I build those harnesses with quick disconnects, just like the factory, and tee off, so it's a quick insert, plug and play, pretty slick. So let me know if you're interested in some of that stuff. I'll try to tool up for that. The other stuff that I'll probably be, I don't know if you want to call it reselling, but stocking and assisting in the design of, is like custom brake lines for the PCX and the Rebel and some of the other bikes out there that I own that don't have ready-made performance braking kits yet. From Spiegler Performance and a couple of other brands. They don't have them in their catalog because they haven't had a bike to test and prototype off of. So what I'll do with them is, okay, you got a stop sign on a railroad track. Yeah, that's just absolute genius. The they need a bike to prototype off of, or at least the lines, and showing how the fittings are, you know, the angles of the fittings and kind of routing of everything. And check out this old Phillips 66. Pretty cool. Seriously doubt they're still in operation, but it's neat to see these old pumps. I'm looking for the cost per gallon. If we can see what the cost per gallon is, we can figure out about how long they've been in op. Something 38. I can't read it. 92. So this place has not been out of business too long. If they had 92 octane fuel here, and that's a modern sticker, it's just sun bleached out. Let's see what this side looks like. 138. 138 a gallon. Yeah, 138 a gallon. So probably, what, mid-90s? It's pretty cool. Old Coca-Cola machine. A bottle. These are awesome. I remember getting sodas out of these when I was a kid. That is so cool. Drop the bike on me. Look at that. That's cool. That's when they sold Coke in bottles. Glass bottles.
Get Cokes out of machines like this.
I know. I loved it. And then look at the bottles. They got some of the bottles here next to it. Place your empties here. Yeah, because they recycled them. Send them back to your local CCBC, Coca-Cola Bottling Company, and bleach them out, refill them, reuse them. Cool. Oh, it's hot. Jeez, it's hot. I don't want to sit here too long, Neil. Whew, hot, hot, hot. Billy Carter's service station. Well, Billy Carter's service station is now a memorabilia stop only, it appears. Okie dokie. Holy hell, it's hot. Where are we anyway? I don't know. Something Church Street. West Church Street, but where? Oh my God, it's humid. Woo! I got sweat dripping down my forehead past the crown liner of the helmet already. Welcome to Georgia. Hope you got some Gatorade, because you're going to dehydrate out here in this state, boy. I'll tell you, this feels every bit as thick and humid as Houston. And Houston's on the Gulf, man. Yeah, there's that vibration, man. It just feels like the floorboards are about to self-destruct. It's definitely CVT. It's mechanical. I can feel it all the way through the bike. At first I thought maybe it was something with the fairing rattling, you know, because it's compromised up here, obviously. It's got a big bite out of the front of it, but it's not plastic rattle. It's deeper than that. It's chassis. It's something vibrating through the chassis. And the odd thing is it's only at about 56 to 59, about a 3 mile per hour range. If I get up over that, if I get to 61, 62, which is right where the rev limiter is, it goes away and it's smooth again. But then obviously I start bouncing off the rev limiter. Yeah, it's just rough at 57, 58. I think my camera is crooked. Every time I look down at it, I swear it's tilted like this. Maybe my helmet's crooked on my head. I don't know. Maybe my eyes are crooked after my impact. Excuse me. Hiya. I've been pretty pleasantly surprised with my allergies. I'm a seasonal allergy sufferer. I really haven't had much allergy problem out here on this trip this year. Been happy about that. I did get my typical altitude bloody nose problem that I always get when I travel up in high altitudes for more than a short time, day or so, and that bugs me for several days, and sinuses are all packed up, and get the bloody boogers for a couple days until all that clears out. But then I've been fine. I haven't really had the itchy eyes and snotting myself to death. Lucky. I always bring allergy eye drops with me, though. That's one thing. When my eyes start getting blurry or gummy or itchy, and I'm just fighting to see, that's a safety issue. That's dangerous on a bike. It's dangerous in a car, but it's doubly dangerous on a bike because you can't rub your eyes to clear whatever it is. So I have those allergy eye drops to kind of mitigate that a little bit, wash my eyes out, and hopefully let me see what I'm doing and continue the ride. But if I forget those, man, sometimes I just have to stop for a while and sit it out. And when you're doing a timed endurance event, it kind of goes antithetical to the whole idea of the ride. You need to keep going. Bathroom break. Must have kids. I haven't done that many road trips with my family in recent years. Of course, you know, with girls, it's always find a restroom somewhere. It's not stop on the side of the road and pee like with boys. My son and I have done that plenty of times, you know, on motorcycle trips and car trips. You know, like, I got to take a leak, let's go. Just pull off somewhere, find a cornfield or a bush and water the flowers. But I always remember doing road trips as a kid. Are we there yet? I gotta pee. Stop drinking so much. Told you not to drink all that icy. What goes in must come out. Remember to keep an eye on my fuel today, because if Neil runs me to the end of my range and I'm not paying attention, I don't have any backup. I've got maybe a quarter gallon in that thing down there. Nah, maybe. Preston city limit. Preston, Georgia. I think that's what it said. Hey, Neil slowed down for a speed zone on time. We got a car in front of us, so that's probably why. He's been blasting through these things, and I drop way back. And you can have the ticket. I don't want it. I don't want it. I've already paid my dues for the next several years. I hadn't had a speeding ticket or anything in, oh man, like 25 years. And then I got 2 back-to-back. For dumb shit like that one in Georgia a while back, or wherever we were, Alabama. All right, 2, 1, go. Okay, we're on the road again. We stopped at this little hole-in-the-wall gas station there and used the restroom, filled up the bikes. I got a full load of fuel again, full main tank, full aux tank, or jerry can. Can't call it an auxiliary tank because it's not doing anything. It's just holding fuel. It's hot. Have I mentioned that it's hot? Good God, it's hot out here. Humid. Just sticky. Can't sweat to cool off, so it just piles up and you're getting swamp pits in the jacket. I don't know how far we are into the game. My trip gauge here, or my ride home gauge, says 760 miles still remaining. Probably going to get another 300 down today, hopefully 350 maybe if we're lucky, and that'll leave me with a 400-mile day for tomorrow. That's pretty tolerable. That's not bad. If I leave early enough in the morning, I should be able to be in by late afternoon in Katy. I want to be back home by, end of day tomorrow, but avoiding rush hour and darkness as much as I can. Luckily, I have all the pieces with me now or the tools, I should say, to change my belt if it blows. Patrick, I forgot your rider number, Patrick. Thank you so much for loaning me the variator tool. He's got a great idea. I don't know why I'd never thought of it. Fantastic idea. He's got a Tusk clutch basket holder tool. They're essentially vice grips with long fork tongs on it that open and close, pinch, kind of like ant pinchers. And you use it for clamping onto clutch basket to hold it steady while you crank off the primary drive nut. So anyway, he took that and then just drilled a couple of holes in the back of the long tines, the prongs, whatever they are, and put some little M4 or M5 bolts in the back of it and cinched them off to where they're fixed in there. And they fit the holes in the variator face. And then what you do is you just angle the the tension on the little vice grips portion of things to get those right where you want them, and to give you just a little bit of tension to bite in, not enough that you're gonna crank down on it and tweak your outer drive face. But yeah, just hang on to it. So that works. And then you flip it around and you use the clutch basket holder side in the holes in your clutch bell to be able to spin off that clutch nut. So cool. Great tool. And he loaned that to me for the ride home, because I said, the only thing I'm worried about is blowing another belt. I don't know what I'm going to do about tools. And he went, oh, here, just borrow this. You'll give it back to me in Houston. Yeah, thanks, buddy. And he's also hauling all the swag. that I bought, the 9 Cannonball t-shirts and the stickers and the bottle openers and all that stuff. I put that in that box, and I said, hey man, would you mind taking this back to Houston so I don't have to figure out how to wear it on my head going all the way back? And he said, oh yeah, no problem. So he's hauling that box of goodies, all the blown variator parts that I have left over, one extra belt. It was the Biloxi belt that Robbie gave me that I ran for 1 day, but it's contaminated with oil or grease, so I don't want to use it. I'm gonna dunk it in some hot soapy water, you know, Dawn dish detergent, and just let it soak for a while and break up that grease, and I'll, you know, go after it with a old toothbrush or something like that and just make sure that it's decontaminated with oil. You don't want to hit those with harsh solvents. Those rubber parts don't like brake cleaner and stuff too much. So anyway, I'll refurbish that belt to where I can keep it as a spare. No sense in throwing it away. We only had 400 miles, 500 miles on it, something like that. Anyway, it's going to be a hell of a big parts order from Partzilla or Revzilla or one of those companies that wherever I find the cheapest stack of parts for the PCX. Got to get all the plastics, pretty much every piece of plastic now, except for maybe this inner floorboard on the left side. It's still okay. Don't jinx it. Everything else is beat up. The lowers on both sides are beat up. The side fairings are beat up. The nose cowl thing up here is beat up. The inner portions here, both of these are broken now. So pretty much all the plastics. The only ones that might survive are the side plastics below the seat. But even the top grab rail plastic is cracked. So just reskinning it. I could go ahead and change the color at this point if I wanted to. I could put different color plastics on it. It used to be really cheap to do that, like $250, $300 for the whole set of plastics. I think it's probably gone up a bit. It's probably closer to $400 or $500 to do that now. So I don't know. I'm not looking forward to it. But I'm considering leaving it exactly as it is, and it'll be part of my QuasiGarage lobby art collection. The Adrian's Cub, when I get that from him, it's going to be there complete with the trailer on it just as he wrote it. So that'll be one museum piece. This will be another museum piece. So maybe for each Cannonball, whatever bike that I ride, I'm going to leave it exactly as it was. Obviously in the 21 Cannonball I rode my Cub, and I've already remediated my Cub, but I'll put his in there as a placeholder. So anyway, maybe I'll have the Cannonball collection in there. We'll see. At least the windshields and stuff that's got the stickers on it, those definitely need to be lobby art of some kind. Put them on the wall as framed art or something. Look at this idiot. And a cop, no less, passing on an uphill over the stripe, blind. Come on, dude. I'm going the speed limit. What's wrong with you? No lights, nothing. Just being an asshole. Hurry up and wait. Yeah, that's right. There's another slow scoot right in front of me. it's going to be a long, sweaty day, I can tell you that. So we're just in the opening couple of hours of riding. We got, you know, at least 10 hours of riding today to get where we want to be. And it's hot. I don't know what the local time is right now. Probably about 10 a.m. I guess the good thing is we get an hour back going, you know, west. Step into a new time zone as soon as we get out of Georgia. I think. Yeah. Man, this whole trip, I've still been brainstorming on a transmission idea for these scooters. I mentioned it a long time ago in one of our Arkansas rides where Neil and Adrian and I were on our scoots. And I was talking about the PCX power plant, how efficient it is. It's just an amazing marvel of engineering. Everything has been designed in such a way that it just works so well together. You know, there's no starter. The generator is the starter. It reverses the flow through that to give you a starter, so it reduces complexity and parts count and everything else. Some markets get that start-stop function that we don't have here in the States, but they're so amazingly efficient at what they do. But the CVT is really the huge loss factor in this whole drivetrain. You're losing a ton of energy to heat and friction losses in that belt and the CVT stuff. So if they could make this a geared transmission, or just at least use the power plant design and give it some kind of a geared transmission, it would be fantastic. So that led me into my next thought of how much of an engineering challenge it would be, obviously a huge one, but to design a replacement transmission unit for the entire CVT. Keep the original drive housing, but take the cover off, take the front pulleys out, take the rear pulleys out, and actually put a geared clutch transmission in that drive housing. And it just becomes the new drive housing cover. You know, you slap it right on there and get it engaged in the, you know, the final drive spline and the engine output spline, and you're done. And my original thought on that a few years ago was, man, if Honda could make a smaller scale 5-speed or 6-speed DCT transmission and tie it into the, you know, the ECU just right off of the diagnostic port or whatever, that would be fantastic. You know, give yourself the manual override, but the, you know, give it, you know, the automatic manual mode and, you know, the little paddle shift over here on the left side. It would just be the most amazingly efficient machine, because then you would have a direct coupled drive again, and you're not getting all those losses in the drivetrain. So, I mean, I don't have the engineering experience. I could probably sit and play with it in CAD and SolidWorks and stuff like that and figure out what it would have to look like, you know, mechanically. But I would imagine that most of the parts would be pretty much off-the-shelf parts, except for the gear carrier and the substructure inside of that drive case. But the gears, the bearings, all that other stuff, man, that could be just standard fare. I don't know if there would be enough room to do dual clutch packs in there or not to actually make a true DCT, or if it could just be maybe even something as simple as a Cub transmission design, where you've got two clutches. One is the oil-bathed centrifugal clutch for longevity, and then a traditional clutch pack, and then figure out a way to actuate the shift mechanism either with your foot or, you know, electronically through solenoids or whatever. But, you know, as the shift shaft is rotated, it disengages the clutch and engages the next gear, up or down. That design on the Cub is just amazing, and it's tried and true. It's proven with 60 years of abuse all over the world and 110 million units produced and sold. So anyway, I don't know. The stuff that rattles through my brain, I think that would be really cool. And I've looked for it out there in the world and I haven't found it. So I'm sure other people have thought of it and just not figured out a way to do it, or maybe they started down the engineering path of it and figured out it just wasn't worth it. Complexity or weight. Weight is a big concern. You don't want a lot of additional weight over there on that drive housing portion, because that's unsprung weight adds more torsional loading to the side of it, and bouncing up and down. You could get into, metal stress and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I mean, just again, shit that rattles through my head. I'd like to try to build one. And spend a lot of time with 3D printing and 3D modeling to figure it out before I actually put it into metal, I'll tell you that. It would be nice to find an all-mechanical solution. Give it gears, direct drive all the way back, gears all the way back. If it had to have a chain in there of some kind, then use a multi-link wet chain, like a timing chain or something, to where there's really no maintenance and no stretch on it. It would need a lubrication system, obviously, so it would need a small oil pump tied directly into the gear drive, just like the oil pump on the Cubs or whatever. And probably use a cartridge filter of some kind would be the easiest, best way to do it for longevity, especially if it's a DCT and all the electronics and the pumps and the solenoids and everything that runs that. You have to have filtration for that. If it's an all mechanical system like a Cub, then you don't need a filter. It's only going to be clutch and gear detritus that end up in your oil. You're not sharing it with the engine and the piston and all that. So maybe just a magnetic drain bolt at the bottom of it to catch the crap that wouldn't catch clutch sediment. Oh, I thought that was a stop for us and he was blowing it. Having a filter in there would obviously make things last longer, but again, that adds to the complexity of the design. If you don't have a filter, you may not need a pump. You might be able to get everything handled just through rotation, oil sling bath, basically. You wouldn't want a lot of oil in that. Probably only as little as you could get away with, 300 mil, 400 mil, something like that, because oil is weight, and that's additional unsprung weight in the system. Have to look at a cutaway diagram of the current 125 motors with the 5-speed in it and see where the oil level sits, at least a virtual oil level, to figure out how much of the gear, running gear, rotating gear, and the transmission is sitting in the oil bath under operation. I wouldn't think it's a lot, because the more rotating mass you have down in that oil, the more parasitic loss you have. Man, that'd be really cool. I thought the DCT option before, and I'm thinking how complex it would be, and I'm trying to figure that in my brain as I'm riding, for the last several trips. And it just happened upon me today in this ride. Nah, screw it, man. Go back to a simple design with a 4-speed or a 5-speed, just like the Super Cub. That would be awesome. Especially if you could even reuse stuff that's already on the shelf, the Super Cub spinner and centrifugal clutch arrangement, and obviously the gears and the splines would have to be laid out differently, but just go full gear all the way back to the drive gear in the back, the final drive input shaft. Geared all the way, just slide it right on. Damn, man, maybe that's an idea. There's an engineering idea for you. And you could even foot shift it somehow. You'd have to cut out the floorboard to give yourself a foot shifter, but it could be done. Maybe even get a heel toe shifter further up in the front. that sits on top of the floorboard, but there's not a lot of room on these things. Now, once you get it nailed down for one design, you probably reproduce it, just change dimensions and stuff, alignments and widths of the final drive to engine shaft and all that. Make it match up to the other side of the drive housing for the cover. It could work. It could work. Be a lot of CNC machining, man. Build it up in SolidWorks and figure out the stress points where it needs to be reinforced with bosses and all that, and send it to a good 5-axis CNC milling company. What are the new fancy ones? It's 5-axis, right? I can't remember. Get all those crazy inside radiuses and things that couldn't be done without multiple steps before. Figuring out the gear ratios would be tricky. Probably want a really short first and second, and then a longer gap to third, and then a little bit closer fourth. And if you could get a fifth speed in there, make that a serious overdrive for highway cruising. If it's only 4, then only the bottom 2 need to be pretty low, because scooters have that, you know, great mechanical advantage with the pulleys. They can get off the line pretty good. It's a very low ratio, good pulling ratio when you get off the line, more so than the Cub or anything like that. I guess the one downside to that whole idea, if it's all directly coupled gears, you don't have the buffer or the cushion of that belt, and if anything failed in that transmission, it would lock that rear wheel quicker than snot. Now, I guess having the centrifugal clutch in there in the second design idea, you know, based on the Cub transmission, you still have the centrifugal clutch in there that could release, and maybe the clutch pack, traditional clutch pack, could be a slipper clutch. That would be the only way that would be a safe design. Because I'm thinking in case of, you know, gear binding or something, hand grenades in there, it's going to lock that rear wheel and you're going to slide around like crazy with no control, no way to disengage the clutch. So the clutch in it, traditional clutch, would have to be a slipper clutch that could unload and slip in case you downshifted too early or whatever. So that would be an important design factor. That clutch basket would have to be the release slipper design. I always play the scenarios in my head, trying to figure out, okay, well, how would this work and what would happen if it failed? Because if it's mechanical, it's bound to fail. Pass, you can pass. You don't need to ride my ass, dude. And the riding advantage of a scooter with a CVT, the twist and go, is always being able to just stay in the throttle. You just whack it open and let it go, and it's going to vary your drive ratio according to speed and load and all that automatically. So you never have to let out of it to shift. You know, it's doing all the shifting transparently behind the scenes. I guess with the geared transmission design, whether it's DCT or you know, a manual shift on it, you could probably just hook up a standard quick shifter type of arrangement, where when you activate the shift lever, it stutters the ignition for a second, or you know, just it blanks out your spark to where it unloads and lets you shift. So you could just stay in it and shift. Wouldn't be hard. So that would be a hybrid, even with the mechanical gearbox design instead of DCT. You would just have a single connection into a spark somewhere, ignition coil or whatever, and be able to stutter the ignition when you activate the lever. Neil's still got his right signal on. Are we going right, or did you forget? We got to get his turn signals upgraded, because you can't see those things at all during the day. You got to be right on top of him to see them. At night they're visible, but daytime it's not bright enough. Excuse my yawns. Those are not bright enough. Coming up on a lake. This is a lake. This ain't no river. This is a lake. What is it? Causeway, Lake something George. I couldn't read it quick enough. It was between trees. Yeah, it's a lake. Yeah, it's definitely a lake. That's a big lake. Pretty good size. Pretty good size indeed. I wonder if there's a bridge that goes under this, or how this is all separated here. It's got to be something. I mean, it's a causeway, and you got water on both sides of it, so did they just build up a big earthen dam and make a road across it, or is this go underneath? I can't tell. How do you get from one side to the other side? It must be up here. We've got an elevated bridge. It's a hell of an eagle's nest up there. And another one. Whoa, they're making their nest up there with a nice vantage point. Chattahoochee River. Yeah, this definitely goes underneath. Oh, it's hot. Lake Eufaula? What? Lake Eufaula? There's Eufaula Lake in Oklahoma, and we ain't in Oklahoma, kids.
Yeah, I'm getting the barn door syndrome. I'm ready for the trip to be done. It's, you know, it's kind of one of those, you're on the way home and it's just taken too long to get there and you're ready for it to just kind of peter out. Tired. If my leg wasn't hurting me, I might not be so eager to get home, but my leg being bunged up, it's definitely taking the fun out of this riding. It's hurting good. My knee being in a bent position is what's really bothering me. When it's straight out, it's not so bad, but the swelling is pretty intense. So I'm glad it didn't really swell up like the whole leg. If you get crush injuries, which I did in my calf, but it wasn't severe. Crush injuries, man, those are nasty because you can end up with blood clots and big swelling. Balloon up, get all kinds of fluid retention. No fun. No fun at all. Blum. Yeah, that's a tough one. I always watch his trailer to see how it takes those. If I see the rear shock or rear tire really compress up, I know that it's going to be a rough one. AutoZone. American Deli. American Deli looks like it used to be an Arby's. Maybe a Wendy's, I don't know. This is a jumping town. It's pretty modern, pretty busy. I don't know where we are. Have not been paying attention. Eufaula. Yeah, if I'm saying that right, it looks like it's spelled Eufaula. So we're in Eufaula, Georgia, Eufaula something. No, Alabama. We're in Alabama already. I'm getting over, Neil. So we're in Alabama because it says AL30. Well, we're turning on AL30. We're on US 431 right now. So if it's AL, that's Alabama. So maybe we're in Alabama. I didn't see a state sign. And one of my viewers, I apologize, I didn't catch the name. It's one of my regular commenters. Said that if I'm headed through Mobile, Alabama area, he's got a place for me to sleep, and he said I can ride his Cushman scooter. I don't think I'm coming through Mobile area, but I do thank you for the invite and the shout out. That's really cool. I never know where I'm going to end up. I kept tired. I never know where I'm going to end up on a lot of these trips. I just go, and then whenever we get tired toward the end of the day, we're looking for a state park or somewhere we can camp. Try not to stealth camp unless we really need to, but do what we got to do to get off the roads at dark, or dusk, because it's when all the animals come out. Don't want to play with them. Let them have it for the night. More lake. Man, a lot of water out here. Lake Eufaula. Okay. This is Eufaula Lake, also in Oklahoma. Interesting. This one's definitely prettier than the one in Oklahoma, though. The Oklahoma one's just a big mud pond. It's pretty good size, but it's just muddy. The red clay just makes the water look like crap.
been there many times, but the thing that always stood out to me, especially as a kid, going there and spending weekends and stuff with the parents and the family and all that, is the mud daubers. There are just mud daubers everywhere, man. There's just swarms of them. It's unbelievable how many mud daubers there are. They love that area, the water, the Oklahoma red clay. Oh my God, there's so many of them. The sky is just full of them, clouded up with them at points. I've only been stung by a mud dauber once, I think. Yeah, once. Hornets and yellow jackets are much nastier. They'll just sting you for fun, just for spite. The mud daubers and cicada killers and the bigger ones, they're just, I don't know, they usually stay out of your way. They get in your face. You know, they'll come strafe bomb you, but they don't really like actively try to attack you. Yellow jackets, man, they're just evil little shits. Land on you and start stinging you for no damn reason at all. Cut. We can't get gas here.
Oh, cheap. Little butt stretch.
I did it.
All right. I don't know what little town we're in, but we're just rolling through Alabama, and Neil said this little town here has probably got some food around here, so he said he's hungry, he's ready to eat lunch. We'll dig around here for a little eating spot, stretch our legs out for a few minutes, and see what kind of food we can find. Boy, that fairing is rattling like crazy. Hopefully he's got some eating spots, because we're going off of our main track. I don't know where he's routing. I've got home plugged in, and so far his route has been corresponding with my route, but we'll figure it out. Here's a Pizza Hut. Probably not a sit-down Pizza Hut. Nope. Maybe. Not likely. Oh, it is steamy today. As long as the clouds are overhead, it's not too bad, but hey, really. I don't know, man. You're driving. I'm following. We don't have comms, so he's just pointing at stuff, and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Chicken shack, okay, we're gonna get some chicken at the chicken shack, I guess. Are you going, Neil? Are you going, Neil? I got traffic behind me, dude. Come on, you're gonna get us run over. There's a Hardee's and the McNasty's, so one of these somewhere will decide just get out of traffic. All right, what do we got? I'm not particularly a Hardee's fan, but I'll eat here. I don't care. Chicken Shack looked pretty busy.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Half an hour just to get some.
It's a weird sound.
I don't like the way
Ah, my butt hurts. Ow.
the angle of the dangle we're talking.
My butt hurts and my knee hurts. Festival of pain. Three, two, one. All right, ready to go. All right, so Neil and I stopped and ate here at Hardee's. I haven't been to a Hardee's in probably 30 years. Or somewhere thereabouts. Down in Texas, all the Hardee's were bought out by Carl's Jr., I think, and most of them just outright closed. But anyway, had a #1 burger meal combo thing. Fries were good. I actually liked the fries quite a bit. Burger was meh. Well, it's better than shoe leather. But we're on the road again. Oh, and I had a vanilla shake. The vanilla shake was actually pretty good. We are on the road getting back toward our track, and going to continue on. I think we still have about 100 miles or so we're going to do today, and probably find a stopping point. I mean, I could go all the way home, and I could crush out another 640 in a day. Be getting there real late, but I could do it. Middle of the night, pretty much, probably 2 a.m. or something at this pace, but I don't think I'll push it. I'll just camp up tonight and get out early tomorrow, you know, crack of dawn, and knock out the remaining, whatever, 300 or 400 miles, 500 miles maybe. I think we're going to do another 100 and change today, so yeah, a 500-mile day would be a long, solid day. I think Neil is trying to get a little bit closer to home, so he doesn't have more than about 350 to 400 to make it home, and he's about 240 out from where I am, or closer, I should say. My place is about 250 or so away from him. So we'll see how it goes. Whoa, boy, that guy's going quick, isn't he? Anywho, here's the road, small town, Alabama. Hardee's in the belly, half a tank of fuel, and on. All right, so we're passing through, I guess this is Greenville, Alabama. I saw several signs that said, try that 5 times fast, several signs that said Greenville, so I'm presuming this is Greenville, Alabama. And little sleepy downtown center here. A lot of old and folded up businesses, it looks like. Neil and I are going to head down to the interstate and actually crush some miles on the super slab for a little bit, because we like the slower pace in these smaller towns, but with all the stop and go, it's costing us a lot of road time. So we're going to bypass some of this and go down maybe, I don't know, 30 miles on the interstate, and connect back over to another little rural highway. But we're going to get out of the stop and goes here as much as we can. Try to crush out another 110, 120 miles, I think is what he was saying. Ooh, that's seen better days. Murphy's Pool Hall. If it was that little jail cell looking place, I don't think I'd want to go play pool there. Looks like it might have room for maybe one table in there. Okay, on we go.
Alright, welcome back to the torture in progress. It's hot. Oh my god, it's so thick, it's hard to breathe out here. The temperature is like mid 90s, 94, something like that, I don't know. But the heat index is 104 and rising. Somebody just told us that the expected heat index today is like 112. Oh my god. It's already bad. I can't imagine it getting worse than this. Ugh. It's 3 in the afternoon, so we're pretty much in the heat of the day. But I don't know, maybe there's more in store for us. Who knows? So we can get out here and not get hit and catch Neil. He's already gone. And we're off. And unfortunately, we're just stuck on the highway because there's nothing else to get us where we want to go. South 65. Yep, that's the one. So we're just we're stuck crushing interstate for a while. Oh, that was a big rock that tried to skip the tire. We're just stuck on the interstate. There's really no other route to get us kind of down on the path that we started, you know, coming over east to come through this part of Alabama, or west rather. There's just nothing to get us away from this. We're stuck here. Got to do the interstate for a while, you know, another 100 miles or so down past Mobile, and then just southwest of Mobile we've got other highway options, you know, rural highways that we can choose. But otherwise you got to go up and around, you know. You got the big river or the lake down there, and there's no other way. So we're stuck with this, and I'm bouncing off the rev limiter again already, trying to avoid that. Don't want to kill my belt. I can do 60, 61, but by 62 it's starting to bounce the limiter. So I'm playing high-speed Frogger out here, trying to stay out of the way of all the highly aggressive cagers that are running 90 plus. I had one guy buzz me at over 100 miles an hour a little bit ago and barely even changed lanes, just being a complete asshole. Welcome to life on the big interstates. Anyway, a lot more of this, nothing fun to see. Just a whole lot of blacktop and straight roads and no scenery and lots of heat and humidity. So I will catch you all in a little while. All right, well, the rain has found us. And got to take this camera down because it doesn't have a door anymore. That got lost on the road somewhere. So Neil is loaning me his Leatherman, and we're going to don the rain gear because we're about to get soaked. It is pouring up there, but you know, of course, as soon as we put on the rain gear, we'll ride a mile and it'll quit. That's just how it goes. Thinking about leaving my jeans to get wet, but nah. Put this in there, get this out, get that out. Try not to get killed by trucks. Get the 2 gloves. As if it wasn't hot enough out here already, now we're putting on the steam cookers. Gonna be baked potatoes by the time this is done. Did you find your Leatherman? Your Leatherman, did you find it?
Oh, I just heard you had to take this off.
Oh no, Leatherman, I got to take that off. My tool for it is in the back. I don't want to get it out. I knew his Leatherman was easy to get to. There we go. Should be easy enough now. Oh, yeah, it is. There we go. Got it. Let's get this handy little storage box, little cubby. It keeps right up here in front, super easy to get to. I don't know which way he stores it, so yeah. All right, don the rain gear. Good luck. Oh, this is the part I don't like. It's already hot enough, but it's raining good up there, pretty solid. Thinking about the pants. I'm not putting the pants on. I don't really like the pants. I'll go with the dirty jeans getting power washed in the rain. But my upper jacket, will keep my upper body dry. So here we go. I might regret that, but it's calculated risk. Let's
feels like it's kind of blowing off to the side, so I keep my legs tucked in. I don't have the benefit of my little deflector anymore on the right side. I still have the one on the left, kinda. It's not really completely functional because the fairing is all goofed, but see how it goes. Ugh. Okay then. Well, this is going to be very hot and very uncomfortable. Hands are sweaty. I can't even get them in the gloves as it is. It's so hot out here, man. Cannot begin to describe how hot it is out here. I mentioned that it's hot. In fact, I'm not even going to go the waterproof. I'm just going to put them in the bottom. If I get wet, I get wet. Oh my god, I cannot get in there. My hand is swollen. Okay. Ouchie. If I get wet, I get wet. At this point, I could use a shower anyway. Oh, sweaty hands into gloves. Just almost impossible. Use this as a leverage point. Yeah, there we go. Wow. Okay. Alright, all buttoned up. Steam cooker almost complete. Didn't put the bottoms on, but good enough. Oh, damn. See how I did? I almost left this up here. Come on out. Come on out. Come on out. How long is the fucking screw? Come on. Try to avoid killing my lenses. I'm not going to put it in its case. I just want it in there and protected. Okay, off we go. We'll see if it blew out before we got there, but it was a good solid gray out a minute ago. We'll see. I think my gamble on the pants probably worked. Yep. Oh, God, it's hot. Let's go. Okay. Because he can catch me. Oh, it's so hot. I'm gonna run this shoulder too long, but I gotta find an opening in traffic. Right there. There's a step. Yoink. Woo! Damn, it's hot. Yeah, it blew out. The roads are still gonna be wet. That was the storm right there, and it was just totally covering the road. It's gonna be wet on the road up here, but it doesn't look like the rain is falling. We'll see if we go in and out of the showers.
All right, we're still rolling toward Mobile. We stopped to take the rain gear off under a bridge overpass a few minutes ago. Now it looks like we're heading into more. We might need to put the rain gear back on. On, off, on, off, on, off. But I'd rather do that than be stuck baking in that because it's just too hot out here. I start getting dizzy so hot. Sealed up in that rain gear with 105, 110 degree heat indexes. Because you can't get any air flowing through to cool you off. So we're still 54 miles outside of Mobile. And after that, I think we're going to kind of head southwestward off of the main interstate because there are more possibilities down that direction. So still have another hour of this. Oh goody. Still rolling. We're in the Mobile watershed or whatever this is called out here, and it's raining over there. You can see the rain coming down out of the clouds, and it's all swampland and everything through here with elevated highway. And I'm cooking along best I can, 61, 62. Neil is still behind me quite a ways from our last stop. He hasn't caught up to me in the last half hour. I hope he's still on the road. He said that he could catch up to me, so figured he could, but he's probably not pushing hard. He's probably running about the same speed I am. Probably have a buffer of about 2 or 3 miles between us or something like that. So I'm just going to keep on pushing. I'll get up here toward Mobile in about another 20 miles or so. I'll pull off and see if he goes rolling by. If I don't catch him, or rather if he doesn't catch me, I'll call him and see where he's at. Maybe I missed a turn that he was wanting to make, I'm not sure. But if we don't coincide here somewhere on the road, then I might just continue trucking on, and that's my distance or time to arrive home is 7 hours and 50 more minutes. I can push 8 hours. It'll put me in right at midnight Houston time. So I don't know, I'm considering it. I'm not really relishing the idea of staying on the highways the whole way there, the interstates, because I think my current track is keeping me on I-10 the whole way through, and I really, really don't like I-10 going through Louisiana and all that, so I'll figure it out. Anyway, here's the bridge. Little Lizard Creek, Mobile County. Mobile River. All right, so Neil is my local tour guide. He's bringing me over here to the Shed BBQ and Blues Joint. Got all kinds of stuff in here. Check out all the stickers and memorabilia. And gotta kill the audio there because of the music. Check this place out. We got all kinds of stuff. I don't know where Neil went. He went this way. I gotta find him for food. I think he's probably in line in there. All right, we stopped again. We're back on the road again. We just ate here at the Shed, I think this is called. Yeah, the Shed Barbecue and bar and grill and everything else. Pretty tasty place. We got some good barbecue. I had the sliced brisket. Ugh! And I'm full. It's hot as hell out here, though. Absolutely hot as hell. And there's no air conditioning in that place. It's all outdoor seating, outdoor eating. And
boy, am I overcooked. We're gonna go like 7 or 8 more miles down the highway here to exit 50, I think it is. And we're gonna grab a hotel. It's just too humid out here to camp, moto camp. You know me, I'm pretty hardy for the outdoor camping and stealth camping and all that, but man, I just can't do it tonight. My leg is hurting, and these clothes are old and stinky, and they're sticking to me, and I just can't deal with it. Come on, we're both running out of lanes. Make your choice. Yeah. So anyway, we're voting for air conditioning to sleep in tonight and hot showers. I'm gonna take a nice, very warm shower and try to relax this leg a little bit. I might see if there's a drugstore nearby and get a. I need to get some ibuprofen because I don't have any. Oh man, we were at Pilot or something, a truck stop a little earlier, and I was looking around to see if they had ibuprofen in there. And yes, they did. They had Advil, and it was a 4-pack for $4.38. So we're talking $1.15 each pill. What are you, nuts? Thanks. I'll live with my pain for a little longer. I'll go to a pharmacy or something where I can get a whole bottle of them, 50 of them for $6 or something. Come on. It's ridiculous. It's highway robbery. Anyway, so I haven't had any painkillers today or anything to reduce the inflammation in this leg and the knee, and oh man, it's swollen enough that like the pants are tight on it. Yeah, the pants are not moving up and down, and these aren't skinny jeans. So yeah, it hurts good. I might grab a compression wrap or something and just kind of gently squeeze it a bit. Might use some hotel ice and ice it down after my warm shower. A little alternating hot and cold. It'll get back to normal. It's going to take a couple days though, and having it in this bent knee position riding all day is not ideal. It feels much better when I have it extended. So just have another 7 hours of riding basically to get home to Houston, but I'm breaking that up. It's not all happening tonight. I could, but I don't want to ride after dark and deal with all that. It'd be safer to do it in the morning. So I'm going to get out, hopefully ass crack of dawn, first light, and start heading. I'll probably be on the interstates for a little while, see if I can find alternate paths to keep me away from I-10, but unfortunately here, Mississippi going through Louisiana and all that, there's just no other easy way other than the big interstates. So I'll suffer through it, and all this traffic behind me is going to have to suffer with me. I just made our exit off of I-10, and there are just a ton of hotels right around this area that are all cheap. Yeah, let's not get ourselves killed here on the highway. There are a ton of hotels that we saw that are all like anywhere from $50 to $75 a night, something like that. And there's a Waffle House right here, which I know Neil is already eyeballing. He loves Waffle House, as I do as well. Oh yeah, we got to go in here, don't we? It's a weird entrance. Best Western, look at that. Well, we could just go check out Best Western there, right across the street from Waffle House, so we can walk over there and get our breakfast in the morning. Or he might go over there for a late night coffee. He's not much of a breakfast guy. He'll eat a little bit of breakfast, but he prefers late night stuff. All right, Best Western. Let's see what their pricing and availability is for tonight. I'm sure they're probably pretty vacant. It's middle of the week, Tuesday night. Ugh. So if we can find something ground floor where we can put the scoots right out our window, that would be ideal. Looks good to me, and we got Waffle House right across the street.